And whoa, look at Magoo. Magoo streaks into the...
Thorpe's got past Gabors. They lock handlebars as they go through, but Thorpe's done.
Here comes Bradshaw to the outside of Bale. He takes over the number 2 position, and Bradshaw is not done.
Welcome, Motocross History fans. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite tracks on the 500 Motocross Grand Prix circuit of the 80s and 90s, and that would be Valkenswaard in Holland. From what I can see, for a small chunk there, Valkenswaard was raced in the 500 class in 89, 90, and 91. Now, the reason why I wanted to do a piece on Valkenswaard is because I like the layout of the track. I love the fact that it's sand. I'm a huge fan of sand tracks, and it's unfortunate that out of all the sand tracks that they have there in Holland, it seems like Holland has the majority of them. Out of all the sand tracks there, whether it's Valkenswaard or Norge or Hills or Lommel, Valkenswaard always seemed to be my favorite. Now, the majority of the time throughout the 90s, it was reserved for the 250 MXGP class, but for 89, 90, 91, it was raced in the 500 class, and it was always an exciting turnout. I think it was Jeff Leask and Kurt Nickel who won it, and I think Billy Lyles was up there in the first Moto 2. Jeff Leask had it in the bag in 89 and ran out of gas, if you guys can remember, in 1989, that first Moto, and then they fixed that problem in the second Moto and he smoked everybody. Well, he didn't smoke everybody. He ended up doing kind of a wire-to-wire race with Kurt Nickel when Kurt Nickel raced for Kawasaki, and he ended up taking the win. But Dirk Gookens, who's Belgian, who ended up having the most consistent score through both heats, ended up winning the 89. This is in the background here, you can see playing, this is the 1990 Valkenswaard race. Now in 89 and 90, it was the race that kicked off both seasons, and what you'll see is in 89, unfortunately, all the copies that I've looked for are all copyright protected. So that's an unfortunate thing, because the 89 race was great. But one of my favorite parts of the 89 race was the hole shot. Billy Lyles got that hole shot when he on his pretty much production-based Kawasaki, and it was just an awesome thing to see. If you race or watch 500s, you know how cool it looks. That particular scene in and of itself. 1990, Jeff Leask was the one who got the whole shot, and to be honest, and this is my thought, and from my research and based on the interviews that I've listened to with Jeff Leask, if you watched from a fan's perspective the 1989 season, and especially the announcers, the commentators, the after race interviews, the media was touting, or from their point of view, all throughout 89, because he had such good results, Jeff Leask, he had such good results and ended up earning the number 2 plate for 1990. They were touting him as being a future champion, perhaps for 1990. And fast forward to Valkenswaard, first race of the 1990 season, and I'm sure, I don't know, I don't think a lot of people remember it, but the ones who paid close attention to the 500 MXGP season definitely remember it, when Jackie Martins and Jeff Leask were battling for the lead And Martins was on a good charge. He had some really strong momentum behind him, and it looked like he had the speed to pass Jeff Leask. Looking back, obviously, he did not make that decision in the right spot because he ended up taking out the both of them and ended up injuring Jeff Leask in the process. Now, going on to hear Jeff Leask's interviews, especially one that he had with Gypsy Tales, who's another Australian. Jeff Leask just kind of said, and I'm summarizing, that he just kind of lost the taste to race motocross and just got sick of being away from Australia and living in Europe and wanted to go back home. And after the 1990 season, he pretty much hung his helmet up. Now, I'm sure there's way more into it than just that. I'm oversimplifying it, but because of that crash, Billy Lyles ended up taking the win and in the first moto, and that probably gave him the confidence for the second moto. And he ended up taking the second moto overall 1-1. I apologize for having misspoken. They did not race there in 1991. They raced at Norghall in 1991. In fact, that was the site where Kurt Nickel, leading the points and probably would have won the title that year, broke his femur in practice. But 89, 90, and then again in 92. And that was the last time I think that they raced in Valkenswaard in the 500 class for at least some good time. But that gave, going back to it, the second heat, Erica Boers got the whole shot in the second heat, and Lyles ended up, just because of the confidence he had, I think, from the first moto and the momentum, and he was just a great sand rider. He just was. He ended up winning the second moto. Here, the footage that I'm showing you is actually, I had to dig for this one, and luckily I was able to find it. But because of my interest in Valkenswaard, and because I wanted to do a piece on it, I ended up coming across the 1992 full race of the 1992 500 MXGP in Valkenswaard, and that iconic first left and right hand turn over that anthill jump is it shows perfect shot of it, and you're right back in it. Just the memories of 89 and 90, and the difference here was, of course, the main players in 1992 were Jobé, Nickel, Lyles, and I'll throw Martins in there. Although in 92, Martins had switched out of KTM and was one of those pioneers of the four-stroke. It's pretty cool overall when a really deep sand track is thrown in to a 500 MXGP, because it's almost like when mudders happen in like Supercross, just like we had a couple races ago. Guys that normally don't do well end up kind of floating to the top and get into the top 5. And so, like, for instance, at this time in 1992, Joel Smets was kind of an up-and-comer, but he wasn't by any means a top 5 guy. And this is the first time I remember seeing him, was because he's a good sand rider, and he ended up doing well in the first moto of Valkenswaard. Now, unfortunately, as you guys remember, 1992 was one of those years where they decided to go to the 3-moto format, and so this is one of those years. But I'll let you guys watch the rest of it as Billy Lyles smoking the field and doing what he does best in the sand, because he's from Georgia, and you grow up in the sand when you live in Georgia. And thank you guys once again for watching. If I'm off on anything, if I got anything wrong, please leave a comment. I learn a ton from you guys. Some of you guys have so much more knowledge than I do on motocross history, and specifically 500 two-stroke motocross history. So with that, have a great day. Leave a comment, and I appreciate all of you. Thanks.
And Van der Leuven. And it really does, on a circuit like this, it really does provide an excellent, Lyle's pushing so far ahead, it really does provide an excellent spectator. I was going to say spectacle sport, extraordinary stuff, as Lyle's now starts to challenge for the checkered flag. Kurt Nickel going up into 4th now. Once again, but the man who's been doing all of the hard riding is Martins, who started way back down in 17th place and has been quietly picking off people all the way through, one after one, and he's now in the top 10, and that's brilliant riding by him. But a great shame for Anstey, who came out first in that first lap and then has just fallen back. He fell and now he's starting to work his way back up through the field again. Kees van der Ven. Kees van der Ven, maybe I should pronounce it. And it looks as if Billy Lyles is going to take the checkered flag, but look at that, as Kurt Nickel moves up into 3rd position, right near the close of this second heat. And beautiful track this at Valkenswaard. Everyone loves the circuit. And there goes Anstey. Right, Billy Lyles takes the checkered flag from Jobé. Kurt Nickel 3rd. Moto then. And once again, looking for these hot starters. Jobé getting a brilliant start into that first corner. A left and a right and screaming away from the rest of the field. And also Higgs with a brilliant start. Look at this. That's Mervyn Anstey chasing Georges Jobé. Why he is the champion he is, and why he stands a very good chance of winning the World Championship if Kurt Nickel makes a single error. It's going to be the Sinti Honda team. There he goes, riding so well. And you can see now that Billy Lyles has moved up in there. That's Ronnie Vuistenred. Dave Thorpe is out of it now. As we take the checkered flag, it's Jobé from Lyles, from Vuistenred, from Smets, and Kurt Nickel rode a brilliant race, pulling up into 5th position.